Yo, what is up guys, this is Tyrannic Swine here and welcome to a new sort of video. This is an idea I've been planning on for some time, especially when it comes to the point where I've completed a certain amount of games in a series and would like to try and do a sort of ranking for them. Now it's not going to be specifically to games, this could be ranking anything really that seems like it can be ranked. But for today, I'm going to be starting off this series with the Battlefront games, since I've pretty much done all them. The first two Pandemic games and the first two EA games. I mean, they'll probably make another one, but maybe I'll update this list after that's come out. But until then, this video is going to be dedicated to ranking the Star Wars Battlefront games. And the way this list is going to work is that I'm going to go from worst to best. So let's kick off this list with the worst one. Now, kicking off the list is the first Battlefront game that EA made back in 2015. Now, a lot of you are probably expecting that their second one would be at the very bottom, mainly because of how horrendous those microtransactions were. But hear me out on this one. The main reason would be because this would have been a hype beyond belief, just like other games, because people were probably expecting that this would be a comeback for the Star Wars Battlefront series because of how beloved it was, and the fact that it was being developed by DICE, who were notorious for making the Battlefield series and how good they were. Well, it's kind of a mix, but for me, but yeah, the Battlefield series with the layout it has would have been brilliant for the Battlefront series, and people were hyped for that. But no, it was an entirely huge disappointment. We didn't even get a campaign for this game, which really hurts it a lot. All we got was these like sort of firefight type missions where you had to hold out through waves of enemies, and that was it. Everything else was practically multiplayer matches, and that was it. And even then, those multiplayer matches, only a few of those were actually fun. I mean, the Walker Assault was pretty much the most fun one, and was pretty much the whole, like, advertised game mode for this game, really. And everything else was just not memorable. Yeah, I mean, the Heroes vs. Villains game mode was pretty fun too, but that was extremely lacking with the characters that it had. And I mean, the whole game was limited itself, the fact that it was only being set in the Galactic Civil War. And there's only so much you can do with that area of Star Wars, and so the fact that the Clone Wars wasn't even involved just really hurt the game overall. Character customization was a complete and utter joke. The fact that you had to choose star cards to like upgrade your character over time is what would be used, and it's just the fact that you could just unlock these with points you regain from matches means that anyone can pretty much unlock these. So pretty much new players who came into this game will get annihilated by all the highest ranking players, and you just wouldn't find any fun in that whatsoever. Customization of your character was also a complete joke, as you would have to grind a lot just to get some good stuff. There was a decent amount of weaponry too, at least, and I mean, the level design was really shitty compared to the original Battlefronts, whereas they were like wide open, you could go to multiple places and capture command posts, whereas in this game, you pretty much had a very linear set point to go to, and that was pretty much it. The only good thing I can really say about this game is the graphics and the sound design. They were great, they were fantastic. That stuff at least resembled Star Wars and brought that stuff to life. But that is it. If that's all your game can do well, alongside the combat and the shooting's pretty good too, but if that's it, then your game isn't really much of a game. Next is the second Battlefront game that EA made, and this game is horrendous with the controversy around the microtransactions. And honestly, EA deserve it with how greedy they are. I mean, every ounce of money they lose, that's all on them. So yeah, this game has definitely taken a beating from the way EA has treated it. Nonetheless, despite this whole thing about the microtransactions, at least the game does try to improve upon from the first one. For once, there is actually a campaign. It's not that great, but it's not the worst thing I've seen entirely. I mean, yeah, there definitely could be a hell of a lot of things that could do with this, but at least there was actually one character in the campaign I actually liked, considering some other campaigns I've played before in other games didn't even have one character that I liked at all, so yeah, I mean, that's a win there. It actually introduced classes this time, like in the original Battlefront games, and even though some will be a bit more powerful than others, especially with the star cards that are still in this game, at least these have sort of been, like, balanced a little bit more too, although not too much though. I mean, as a new player, you still have a bit of a chance against like veteran players, but they'll still kick your ass in the worst ways possible. And the amount of customization, despite being a little bit better, is still a joke, with lacking a lot of variety and options. And the same could be said with the weaponry too. There is a huge lack of weaponry in this game, with only 4 guns to use in each class, which is very low compared to even the first Battlefront game that EA made. And it surprises me how they were able to like backtrack on this when there was a whole bunch of other weapons they could introduce to this universe. Soundtrack, the graphics, and the sound design, they all sound and look great, especially carried over from the last game that they did. So of course, if this was a good thing in the last game, it's going to be a good thing in this game. However, once again, the level design still feels very linear and just a set plot point, instead of like being able to roam around a huge map, do whatever the hell you want. I feel like they've improved the way the game modes are laid out and everything. I don't know if there's less of them, but I definitely know at least the game modes or new content introduced in the game is free. But then again, the first game, I'm not exactly sure how much of the original game modes were there when I first started, mainly because I got all DLC, because it was free for me at the time. But yeah, I'm just unsure with the amount of game modes in this one are different compared to the last one. But the main difference is that there was actually some fun to be had in this game, and the most fun where I got was in the space battle game modes, where you can fly all the ships and everything. That shit was great. The controls there, splendid, excellent. And it was done by a different company too. This wasn't done by DICE, it was done by someone else, and I'm like, yes, they know how to make a Star Wars ship work, and they should be doing this in the next one, hopefully. In fact, they should probably do the next game, like all of it, because if they know how to make a ship work, they should know how to make the Star Wars combat work. Now next up is the very first Star Wars Battlefront game, and even to this day, after pretty much 14 years, this game still works and plays pretty damn well, despite sort of lacking here and there in certain areas, but this game still works very well. There are a ton more maps and vehicles and just different classes you can choose from compared to the other 2 Battlefront games that EA have done. I mean, even though you can't customize the classes, they all feel different and fun to play, giving a whole wide variety to the matches that you can play in. And even though there's only one game mode, which is Conquest, that's still a hell of a lot of fun. Because of the size of the maps and what you can do with them, there's so much you can do with them. The combat works relatively well alongside with the vehicles. Each of the classes have their own different weapons and equipment to use. And yes, the level design is great. It's big. You can do a whole lot of things. You can run around on them. You can take different sort of paths to attack the enemy. Yes, I love that. It's really nicely designed. And hell, the game even has a campaign. I mean, sure, it's recreating the battles in the Star Wars universe and playing them, but hell, that's still a campaign. Hell, you even have sort of a third neutral faction in the game where you have AI enemies to fight against. Not just the main primary enemy side, but also a sort of neutral side who will attack both sides, like the Tusken Raiders. You'll have them to fight against on the Tatooine Dune Sea map, which is really cool to see, to have stuff like this in the game. Although sadly there is a few things here and there that just aren't quite up to peak. The Galactic Conquest game mode is very shallow and not very done well, and you can't play as the hero characters or villain characters. That doesn't happen until the second game. So yeah, there are some shortcomings to this game, but overall it's still a better product than either of the EA games. And finally, of course, the best Star Wars Battlefront game is Star Wars Battlefront 2 that Pandemic Games made. This is brilliant, possibly one of my most favourite games of all time. This pretty much takes the first Battlefront game and pretty much improves almost every single aspect of it. Although I do feel like they sort of downgraded some of the graphics and the levels in some of the the maps that were from the first Battlefront game, everything else is just top notch. The classes, there's more classes to choose from, more variety, there's new vehicles, new maps in the Star Wars universe, because by this point in time episode 3 had come out. There's an actual proper campaign that pretty much tells the tale of the cloned 501st Legion, which is cool as hell. You now have space battles. I mean, of course, space battles are fucking epic in this game. I mean, sure, Battlefront 2 that EA's done got pretty fun space battles, but in this, you can actually like fight ship to ship. You can like board enemy ships, take them out from the inside, or just fight enemy fighters in like the good old Star Wars fashion. You can do so much with the space battles. It's so much fun to be had there. There's even a few new different types of game modes introduced. You have, well, Galactic Conquest, of course, has been hugely expanded upon. The normal Conquest mode is pretty much the same with just a few more different layouts for the command posts. You have Hunt, you have like single flag CTF, and you even have a Heroes versus Villain game mode all for itself too, which is great. Not only that, you can play as the heroes and villains themselves, and holy shit are these guys overpowered if you know how to use them, but they can be taken out since there are some restrictions to them, especially with the way their health works. But yes, the heroes and villains characters work splendidly. The vehicles, they're great to use. The combat with the classes, that's great, and they feel a lot more flexible. You can like sprint, you can like roll around a lot more easier than you could in the first Battlefront game. It's like they definitely improved the mechanics in every way they could. Hell, even the map design has been improved a little bit as well. There are like some maps that have something that you can interact with to change the way the map is laid out and change the battle itself, and I really like that. And the graphics themselves have been improved too, a lot. Well, some areas it's not as good, but some areas it definitely has been improved. So yeah, this game is pretty much what every sequel should be. Take the original game and improve everything that just wasn't right and just make it better, and that's exactly what this game did. So yeah, that is my list of the Battlefront games. Of course, the second Battlefront game made by Pandemic Games was obviously going to be the winner because it improves everything that the original game did and more, and it's just so much fun to play. Hell, even people on PC play this game a lot to this day because it's that good of a game and the amount of mods you can do with it. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little video that I did. I'll probably be doing more of these videos in the future when I like start clearing up some other game series or some other things. There might be some other like stuff I might do on this whole ranking series. This is kind of a new thing that I want to do. But yeah, games aren't going to be the only thing I'll do for this. There might be other things I might do for it, but yeah, you'll see in the meantime. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Leave a like down below, subscribe, comment on what you think of the Battlefront games, which ones are your favorite or worst, what else you could say about them. Share this video on social media, and I shall see you guys in the next random video.